Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Paradise Recreation and Park District Board of Directors meeting of September the 10th. Would you all please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Director Robert Anderson.
Here.
Director Steve Rodwick.
Here.
I have Mary Belfay as secretary excused today. Or vice chair, sorry. I'm messing up, guys. Secretary John Stonebreaker. I have Mary Belfay, vice chairperson, excused tonight. And then chairperson Alma Green.
Here.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I want to welcome everybody on behalf of Paradise Rec and Park Districts Board. Thank you for coming this evening. We have some special presentations scheduled before we dive into the rest of the agenda this evening. First of which is, I believe Kelly Munson's here. Kelly, welcome. You're going to update us about the Elements program, please.
I'm Kelly Munson. I've been here a few times before. I just wanted to give you the most recent update. We're starting a new cohort of students for the Elements Youth Advisory Committee. And as a reminder, that is a grant funded through a grant through Prop 64 through the California Natural Resources Agency to the Paradise Parks and Recreation Department, who has graciously been hosting us through administrative support and vans and just general enthusiasm. The grant is scheduled to end on February 28th, 2026. So we have 6 months to do lots of great things. We do not have funding secured to continue regional support to continue it because we did an evaluation that I'll read you some quotes from. So it seems like the students are enjoying the program and it's worthy of continuing. But I'll start by, we have our fall cohort, which is a 4-month grouping of students. And my lovely assistant is going to hand out the flyer that we've used to advertise around the region. The original grant was for Butte and Glenn counties, although because we provide transportation for the majority of the students, most of them do not have any like family transportation or personal transportation. We've limited this fall to just to Butte County. So we have students signed up from Oroville, from Paradise, Magalia, and Chico for this fall. And we have another partnership with the Chico Enterprises, Chico State Enterprises, and they have the BESER, the Butte Creek Ecological Reserve in Upper Bidwell Park, and they also have the Butte Creek Canyon Ecological Preserve, which is down here on Honey Run Road. And they're allowing us to base camp out of the preserve on Honey Run Road. Which was recently given back to the Machupta tribe. And so we're going to experiment this fall with, instead of doing day trips, we're going to do weekend outings. So the students will come on Saturday at noon and they'll stay till Sunday at 2. And we'll base out of the preserve and then we'll go out around the region and do activities that are related to the program. So hiking, birding, we'll hopefully get back on the Sacramento River, and Feather River, Salmon Float, all the different places right around Butte County is really what we want to introduce them to and have them get comfortable with, so then they can go back to those places with friends or family or someday if they have their own car. I wanted to share, we did an evaluation of the participants from last year. And this is a summary. So they were asked, I think, 16 questions. And we had a woman named Blake Ellis, who works with Chico State Ecological Reserves, who's a therapist and does the forest therapy program, forest bathing program. She interviewed the students, and so all their responses were confidential, and she created a summary report. And so a few comments, or kind of a summary of the comments. Participants described the program as one of the best things I did all year, life-changing, very inclusive, and a blast. The Elements program helped participants feel connected, try new things, and feel more capable in outdoor and social environments. Favorite activities were snowshoeing, rafting, backpacking, the Bioneers Conference, and forest bathing. The participants reported improved confidence, increased appreciation for nature, better ability to manage stress, and a strengthened sense of relationships, community, and identity. Key lessons included how to care for oneself, how to work with others, how to lead, how to connect to purpose and place, and practical skills like camping, backpacking, kayaking, and fire by friction. Multiple youth cited wanting to pursue environmental careers. And that is a big part of our program. It's not just going out and adventuring, but everywhere we go, when we meet with different professionals in the field that do micro workshops for us, I have them say what their job is, how they got that job, and what was their twisty turny journey to get that job, because we probably all know it's not a straight line in our life. And so it's been great to hear the stories, and it's awakening the ideas and imagination of these young folks to be like, oh, I didn't know that was a job, or I didn't know I could make money doing that. And so we've definitely seen an increase in outdoor careers. Participants noted better eating habits, quitting vaping, more time outdoors, and developing mindfulness practices like meditation and hiking, as well as coping skills during times of stress or sadness. One of the things I've noticed in the participants, while it's not a requirement of the program, the participants that we're getting are students that have had harder lives, not just because of the fire. There's a few fire survivors, but um, I think they're drawn to this program because it's something healthy to do. A number of them are in divorced families or living with distant family members, or have a couple of them didn't make it through high school. Some have had addiction issues. I think when you're don't have a lot going for you in your life and someone offers you a free program, we've been able to get students that are like, wow, that sounds great. I haven't had access to do those things. So I'm not surprised that it's helped with their mental health and relationships. And two of them quit smoking marijuana. I don't think just because of our program, but we do a lot of mentoring with the students, and using the kitchen here to cook our own meals. And there's a lot of there's the adventuring, and then there's everything else. And so I feel like this program is a nice kind of basket of career development, and being introduced to college. Several of them are going to Butte College this year. How to cook your own food, how to plan trips, how to work in a group, and the connection to nature. So all in all, I think it's been going well. And we have just only 2 open spots for this fall cohort, and I'm confident that it'll fill. And I'm really excited. And we'll see, what happens. Where this is a new model. We're using the grant funds to try out these different models, and hopefully be able to deliver to you all and Dan a proposition for ongoing youth outdoor programming, long beyond the grant. So I'll leave it at that. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we're going to open up to the board. We'll start with Robert. Do you have any questions or observations you want to share with Kelly?
No, that was pretty complete.
Okay. How about you, John?
Oh, sure. Yes. They came last presentation, but I didn't bring them this one. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'll have to say it on the microphone, but if you let me know when there will be an opportunity to come and speak with you all, it would help me better understand if there's to be proposal for PRPD funding in the future, how participants are doing.
Oh, cool. That'd be great. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, that's a good request, John, but probably that should be coordinated through Kelly and the staff to make sure that there's internal linkage on that. How about you, Steve?
No, that was fairly complete, based on your previous presentation and when you had your students here, it pretty much, illustrated the benefit that they're receiving.
I just have a few. Okay. Refresh my memory, Kelly, but I know this was all grant funded. When did we first start on the Elements program? How long has it been going on now? It's been a few years, right?
Yeah. This is the third fall.
This is the third fall.
Yeah.
So it's a good almost 3 full years, right?
Yeah. We're starting our third year. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, third and a half. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is you shared a summary verbally tonight, but is there a possibility you could turn that in to staff and they could then subsequently send that to the board members so just we
Sure.
can see that?
Yep.
Because that'd be pleasurable for us.
Great.
And then lastly, have you ever given any thought? It sounds to me like this is a very successful program. I'm very pleased about this on behalf of not only the district, but being an adult, I like hearing this. Have you ever thought of giving this presentation to some local Butte County, for lack of better words, health organizations so they can see the relationship of some of the youth, what they're benefiting from, not just the experience, but they're learning to mature, they're learning, they're coming from different walks of life, as you indicated, and maybe that is something worth sharing with other entities that are in a similar type of uh, provision for youth.
Right.
Not only that, but maybe the other rec districts in Butte County need to become aware of this too.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be something that might become a joint venture since
Yeah,
it's
that's a great idea.
countywide. I'm just saying that when you get towards the end of this program and you're thinking of ideas to possibly fund it on its own, it might be something that could be done jointly with the 5 park and rec districts in Butte County. I'm just throwing out a thought. I'm not saying I'm right, but
Yeah,
So-
no, I've definitely, I appreciate that. I've thought about that and also connecting with the Boys and Girls Club.
absolutely.
There's a new director that I met with last week at our Paradise Teen Center, Nate. And so he and I had a conversation. And then in related to your first question, we have a meeting actually scheduled for October 18th. It's a Friday, and we're bringing in some of our stakeholders that are been a part of the Outdoor Education for All initiative. And so that's some folks from Butte County Behavioral Health, Butte County Office of Education. Dan will be there, Scott will be there, myself, Ann Stevens, that's been a stakeholder in the community, Feather River Aquatic Center. So there's a group of us talking about how do each of our programs connect and how can we support each other and how can we continue to offer outdoor education programming for all the different
That
generations.
sounds great, Kelly. And that's on the 18th, you said,
October 18th. Yeah.
And you might want to get the media involved.
Well, it's a planning meeting for right now, but I'll let Dan
Just saying,
decide from there.
They could cover it after the fact, but I mean, anyway,
Okay.
thank you so much.
We'll put that a note on Dan's desk.
Yeah, I think just to be clear, that 18th is kind of us coming up with next step planning.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I
it's just sort of like we get
misunderstood.
all the partners together
I
and not quite
misunderstood, yeah.
media ready.
Okay.
So
But I do, I am like generally like, I mean, even though I'm here, like I'm usually just like doing my thing. I'm not like a big like fanfare person. And I realize that can be limiting. And so I hadn't thought about getting the media involved. So help me remember of like, maybe, once we're ready for that kind of bigger splash that we do put it out. Because just getting this flyer out, like on Facebook and Instagram and through Butte Environmental Council and through Core Butte, like people are like, this looks really amazing. And I was like, oh gosh, I should have sent it out sooner, you know? So I think that's a good tip.
Well, thank you. I want to, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you and your program and working with our staff. And we really were impressed with the young people that came here a couple meetings back.
Great.
And
The next time I come, I'll have another group of them.
will you?
So yeah,
Okay, good. Does staff have any questions you want to run by Kelly?
thank you so much.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, our next presentation is about Spring Valley Summer Camp, and our own in-house Scott Amick is going to give us a presentation on that. Thank you, Scott.
It's a pleasure to see you all this evening, especially when following Kelly, we're chronologically service order, we're flipped. Director McGreen, you mentioned that you really appreciated that Kelly and the Elements program was servicing high school aged through college aged. These are the participants that will one day be a part of a Paradise Recreation and Parks District Elements program. This is the Spring Valley Expanded Learning Program. This is the largest camping, or I'd say service endeavor of consistent day-to-day service that we've had since I've been here. That's 40-hour weeks for 5 of our staff showing up and taking care of those little characters right there. Next slide. What you see are happy faces of students that otherwise, if we were not a part of this program, would be doing something completely different. It wouldn't have the same standard. It wouldn't be associated with quite literally standards of all sorts of different types that the school systems are tied to. Now we can offer that through a recreation department. Is fantastic. What you see in front of you here, upper corner, is there is someone at the train park inside of the bubbles there. There are students at the front of the Spring Valley School right there. What they're holding in their hands that you can't see is there are a quazillion frogs on their campus that you have to actually step over and through. So they're playing a game where they toss the frogs into the bubble. Anyways, lots of things that we're doing there. You see me over there doing a camping lesson, and then you see the participants at Paradise Lake. You also see a young lady with her hands in mud for the Seed Balls Day. Next slide. Again, at the terrain park, and with one of their staff members that was integral, her name was Coach. That was another thing that you're not going to see through the pictures right here is the relationships that the staff formed with their staff, in that we are now one service organization for this Spring Valley endeavor. Next slide. There's our staff. There's Caleb, obviously having a good time out at Paradise Lake, and True is showing the participants that grassy knoll right there. Next slide. We're out at the forebay right here. So what this program did is it is modeled after what Elements is also modeled after. A lot of what we do at PRPD is we take students from whatever site they're at, and then we take them to all of the other sites that our programs go to. So they're at the forebay right here, also an outdoor education for all partner. Next slide. The students were so exhausted so quickly. I have to give it up to our staff that's not here. It's a miracle that they made it through with sunburns, and that's about it. Next slide. It was a very safe program. It was really, really neat to see that we went with all summer long, all these different water activities, and no incidents. So that speaks to the communication of the staff and their preparation, which was extensive. Next slide, Sonny. This is the environment that we would greet them in every day. So one of the keys successes to this is that we were able to fold into the programming that they already had, so that they already knew what their structured day was going to be like. We simply showed up and took the reins from staff that were so relieved to watch us walk through the door. Next slide. That is a student with a bucket on his head. I'm not exactly sure what. Oh, that's a journaling lesson right there. I don't remember that little guy's name, but man, he was fun. Next slide. We are at the mini golf on the left with the billiards. On the right, they're about to launch those seed balls out into nature. Keep moving, Sonny. We have a camping 101 day where they all learn how to set up tents and design a fire safe campground. In the bottom corner, we have the Butte Fire Safe Council that has come out to do a fire safe lesson with them. Reddy Raccoon is in the other room about to burst through the door and break dance. It's always fun. Next one, Sonny. These are students down at Hooker Oak on the only merry-go-round that I'm aware of in Butte County. It's a good time. The next slide is actually a video that shows a student flying off of it. Glad we don't have one up here in Paradise. There's more seed ball demonstrations. That's Mr. Jared with the Alta-Cal Birding Society doing a birding lesson. On the right, underneath the yellow canopy, we went to the Reading Water Park with 30 students, and you can imagine they got to go to the water park. Like, how cool is our programming? Do you know any other summer school programs where they show up and like, get in the bus, we're going to the water park? Next slide, Sonny. Just the special times that the students had. There's just countless memories of that little guy right there. He is facing every fear that exists in his mortal body by holding that little praying mantis right now. That's why we took the picture. Keep moving. More pictures of students just having a good time. These are the videos that didn't make it into the slideshow. You can push play if you want, Sonny, but I think they get the point. They had a bunch of fun. Keep moving, Sonny. Yeah, they're push play on all three at the same time. There you go. There you go. So this is just a slice of the joy that was every waking moment for the staff and the participants. Keep moving, Sonny. Keep in mind, you don't see a lot of pictures of me. That's because while this is going on, I'm off doing something else, running a different program, getting the kayaking program going. Staff ran this on site with only a handful of days that I was there. That was active. Almost there. Patience is a virtue. Another thing that this program taught us. How we do it? Okay, there we go. I don't know. Push over on the keyboard, like the right cursor. There's a couple more slides like this. There we are. Again, by the end of the summer, everyone was exhausted. They got to go fishing. They got to run water slides at Aquatic Park. Keep moving, Sonny. Almost all of the great things that we offer at PRPD as far as recreation for this age group, they got to do. We're already looking at making this a multi-year contract because as soon as this program ended, Josh Pete, who is the principal and the superintendent, they have a teacher shortage out there right now. So he's teaching every subject that exists. They are so thankful to have PRPD involved in their world because when we show up, they get to step back and we get to become part of their team. So last couple slides demonstrate just that, just the fun had by all. And as far as we know, we're invited back next summer to do more of the same. And on behalf of the staff, man, there's 5 incredibly capable humans that kept everyone safe all summer. All I had to do was show up and burn some hot dogs. So cheers to them. And I'd love to answer questions.
Scott,
Yeah, turn the mic on now.
just for the benefit of the audience, can you explain who we partnered with
Sure.
for the summer camp program?
So you just saw an expose that is pictures from a Spring Valley expanded learning program. Expanded learning dollars are associated with a stringent set of requirements that the school has to meet in order to earn that funding. And without PRPD partnership, they would not be able to earn the funding. We took up a fraction of the amount of funding that they have that actually serves that program year round.
And which school district are we talking about?
This is the Golden Feathers School
That's what
District.
I wanted you to say.
So this was for Concal Golden Feathers School District. After this program, we gave a presentation at the Expanded Learning Conference, which is all the expanded learning programs for Butte County into Glenn County. the director of the program stood up in the middle of our presentation and reminded everyone that they had expanded learning dollars to spend specifically with PRPD and specifically on programs just like this.
Very
And
good.
excuse me, I was just going to add a couple things. One is that this was brought up to our board for approval on this 1-year agreement in May. So pretty quick this season, although Scott's been chatting with Josh for quite a while. I think one of the things that Josh made it pretty clear is that they have a dedicated staff, but that's an overworked staff. And that one of the main reasons for pulling us in is to give his staff some relief. And so that would be something that they would have to either do or probably just let it sit on the table because they couldn't pull it off in the summer. And, you know, I think all the activities and all of that are just really catches up with that kind of learning, catching up on some of that learning and social activities that, you know, were kind of COVID related on their, you know, development. So I think
Right.
there's an accelerated program here and all reports were really positive.
I appreciate that. So, sounds like they want us back, and you'll let us know when all the legwork starts on that to come back again, get us to formally adopt that.
They want us back, and at Bar Behest, they're telling other schools about our capacity.
Oh, good, good. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the board. We'll start with you, Steve. Any observations or questions of Scott's presentation and so forth?
Specifically, what other school districts? I'm thinking Paradise Unified, and any private schools, any.
Yeah, so the way that this program works is that if the school site signs up for expanded learning, then they have to check those boxes. Each site interacts with the expanded learning program at their own, you know, behest, whatever their capacity ends up being. So some schools are more amenable to it than others. And yeah, we've got pretty good traction on the Ridge with relationship develop. We're in the relationship development stage, I would say, of onboarding the Ridge centric schools, because we've got good stuff going with BCOE, that's down there, and out in Concal. Now we have the chops to move it up the Ridge. Yeah, yeah.
John Snowbreaker?
There were 30 in the first semester, and there were 26 in the second semester. Yeah.
Hey, Scott, what
No.
percentage of the school does that represent?
You know, I'm not sure. I wanted to say it's either chasm. It's either a large amount of the school or it's a small amount of the school. Are you leading me with a question on this one, Dan?
No, because and maybe Robert, you know what I was just curious what the enrollment is, but that seems like quite a bit of participation from that size school. So
Yeah, here's one thing I can tell you is that of the 30 participants, 95% of them are boys. So that made for a very exciting program behavior-wise. That also is what Josh was getting at when we were looking at what the numbers could be. He has to offer it to at least 30 participants. So there will always be at least that minimum of a lift for what we prepare for, if that's what you're getting at, Dan. Staff-wise, we will always need to staff for at least 30 students.
And what was our staffing ratio to the enrollees?
That's a great question, Al. We're pretty high, as it was our first go around. We had one coordinator and we had 4 rec leaders, and then they also offered 2 of their paraprofessionals. So our ratios were well underneath what the recommendations or mandates are, which usually that's a 1-to-8 ratio. So we're well underneath that, or over that, I guess you'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else from the board? Sounds great. Wonderful program. Yeah, Jeff, you want to add something to that?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so that's another thing is we went so many places so often, but the glue to this program was the pools. because every day all the staff had to do was make it to the pools. And a lot of days that's a big deal because it's summer and these little boys are hyped up on Lucky Charms and Kool-Aid. And just once we make it to the Concal pool or the Paradise pool, we were very, very well taken care of. So more shout out and love to the pool staff because dropping off 30 sugared up fifth graders is quite the endeavor. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Hey, you know what? I'll be right.
It is coming up. That's just a teaser for our pool manager later on.
Okay, well, I think that concludes that presentation. Thank you so much, Scott. Next item on tonight's agenda is public comment. This is an agenda item as required by state law. If anyone wishes to exercise their right to share a public comment with the board on a non-agenda item, they're more than welcome to do so at this point in time. Does anybody have something you want to share with the board in our district that's non-agenda related? Well, judging by the silence in the room, I guess there is not. Okay, so we'll move on to the next agenda item, consent agenda, which there are 3 items on consent. Board minutes of our last regular meeting in August, payment of bills and disbursements, and then information relative to our safety committee meetings. First question I'll ask is, do any staff members wish anything pulled off of consent to be dealt with individually? Again, judging by the silence, apparently not. Any board members want anything? Okay, so we have a request to entertain the minutes separate from the other consent agenda items. All right. So we need action on the other consent agenda items. Anybody want to entertain a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve items 3.2 and 3.3 on consent.
Okay, we have a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Madam Clerk, we have a roll call vote on that motion, please, for items 3.2 and 3.3.
Director Robert Anderson,
Aye.
Director Steve Rodwick,
Aye.
Secretary John Stonebreaker, Chairperson Alma Green.
Aye.
Motion carries with 4 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now move on to item 3.1, board minutes of the regular meeting of August the 13th. Mr. Stonebreaker. So you're verbally entertaining amendments to the text? Okay.
I suggest just saying approve or editing the minutes. I'll get the edits, but yeah, just say edit with the edited minutes. Actually, you wouldn't even, they haven't been corrected, so you might as well just pull them and then we approve them at the next meeting. I wouldn't even make them.
Go, or the motion could just incorporate the amendments as presented verbally by the board member.
Suggest we do it tonight.
Beg pardon?
Well, that we do make a motion to accept the minutes with corrections.
With corrections.
Yes.
Right.
And we can take care of it tonight.
Do you want to make that a motion, John? With the corrections you pointed out? Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Very good. We have a motion that's been made and seconded. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Director Robert Anderson,
Aye.
Director Steve Rodwick,
Aye.
Secretary John Stonebreaker, and Chairperson Alma Green. Motion carries with 4 ayes.
All right, moving on. Committee reports. Finance Committee. I believe we have a brief written report relative to the Finance Committee meeting that occurred on, was it August 21st? What was the day of that meeting?
We were both there. Of course, not much is just, it's self-explanatory. The number one item was tabled, and we listened to the pyrotherapy and grazing presentation, and had some questions, and then nodded in agreement.
We went over same as finance, and we also did project updates. We'll see how the pyrotherapy and grazing event goes. What do you got, Al?
All right, that's about all I have, Robert. You've hit the nail on the head, right rather well. Okay, so again, that's information noted as received, right? You want to add to that, staff? Or
Yeah,
anything?
I was just, I know that one of the questions that came up in both committees on the pyrotherapy event was coordination with PG&E. And so they're agreeable to, the timing's going to work fine for that event, and they're very willing to work with us on it. So it looks like from that standpoint, it's a go. So
Well,
just
thank
thought
you.
I'd report back.
Thank you for updating us on that, because I'm glad to hear both committees have the same point of interest on that. So that sounds like it's going to happen correctly. Thank you. We're going to move on to new business tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Item 5.1, resolution acknowledging Mary Bellafay. Wow, where do we even start, gentlemen? Mary's not here tonight, but I guess I could say this, that she and her husband are in escrow right now. Their property is selling, and I believe the escrow closes on the 18th of September or thereabouts.
Actually, I believe it's the 20th.
The 20th. But anyway, she has submitted, because of that, and they're going to be leaving the area, she has submitted her resignation as a member of our board effective September 18th, I believe. And acknowledging that, I just think it's really timely for us to, we will acknowledge that on our special meeting forthcoming on the 18th. But before that, I thought that I, as your chair, thought it'd be wise for us to formally consider adopting a formal resolution of appreciation on her behalf. And hopefully you've all had a chance as part of your board packet, board members, to look at the resolution as crafted. There'll be more to this than just the resolution itself, but if we approve that tonight, then my understanding is the staff will, and they're in the process of doing this, and making arrangements to have this resolution, correct me if I'm wrong, but mounted as part of a plaque, I believe, which will be formally presented to Mary the night of the 18th, if we can do that. And we have some other things in mind relative to that. Also related to this resolution, and I should, since the resignation is presently a matter of record now on that effective date, we have to start the process. We, being the board, and Dan, you can take the lead on this, but we have to let the public know that this vacancy is pending, and we start the process to try to solicit people from the citizenry that might want to step forward and be a candidate for consideration for appointment on the board for the remainder of her term that she's vacating. And so with that in mind, I think this is somewhat related to this, and that is we need to, and Dan's asking that we consider putting that on a special meeting, I believe, that we want to set up later this month, I believe. I think we already have other needs for a special meeting this month. Most of you have heard that, and that would be the 18th. But related to that meeting, we're going to need a meeting as part of the overall process as required by law, where we go through soliciting, getting candidacies, And then probably want to interview the candidates at board level. So we need to have a specific special meeting date for board interviews. And that's where I'm getting at. And I'd like to turn that over to Dan. He has a tentative date he'd like to run by all of us tonight to see if we can make ourselves available for that date, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, let me run through just because I think there's a lot of interest in how this all works. So once there is the effective date of the resignation or when someone departs the board, we have 15 days to formally report to the county, which we've already given them a little bit of a heads up. There's sort of a clock tied in with the actual departure. Then our board has 60 days to appoint. And so within that 60-day window, which would then kick us out to November 17th or so, we would have opportunity to review candidates. There's public noticing requirements, and what we've done in the past as a district to have an application form, and then some supplemental information where we request, basically a cover letter, resume, you're applying for a job basically, and then kind of some supplemental questions that have been very helpful to ask in the past. And it doesn't have to be a special meeting, but it has been most beneficial, I think, for us to have it as a special meeting to get people attention and not have other things on the agenda. We're looking at a couple of dates. We have a very short window for that to happen, but if directors can provide us with information, and this may or may not work with the candidates, which is always a challenge, but Tuesday, October 21st, or that Monday, or that Wednesday. So that the 20th, 21st, or 22nd, with probably that Tuesday being the most preferable from when we're looking at our staff calendars here. And we would build off our calendar based on that, but we wanted to make sure that we had a quorum. So 3 members that could participate with interviews and selection, at least 3. But we'd love all of you to be able to be part of that. I think it'd be good to get an answer tonight on that so we can move forward with our calendar and notification, which would be part of our notice to the paper. Sorry, Steve.
So I was just going to say those days are good with me. There is a personnel committee on the 21st, but since Mary's no longer going to be with us, that'll likely be canceled. So those days are open.
We were thinking about either that slot as a meeting or later, depending on what board.
All days are good.
What were the days again? The 20th, 21st, and 22nd? Is that what you said?
Correct. With the afternoon of the 21st or evening of the 21st, probably preferable.
How about the other 2 gentlemen? Where you stand on those dates?
I'm not good for the 22nd.
I will need to get some additional information as to whether I am available at those times. I can probably rearrange my schedule to be available on the 21st if needed.
Which one you said? The 21st?
Yeah. So I mean, if that is the board's preference or the staff's preference, but I can probably rearrange my schedule to be available on the 21st, or for that matter, on the 20th, if needed.
Mr. Stonebreaker, is there a particular time that may be easier for you on that?
Not necessarily. That I have something else scheduled which would make it difficult to attend on any of those days, and I will find out tomorrow whether I'm able to reschedule and be available on one of those days.
as your chair, I'm going to ask that once you find out, would you please communicate that by email with our district manager and myself?
Yeah, I will include both of you once I have
I
more
would
information
appreciate that.
tomorrow.
That way we
Very
can-
well.
And as far as those dates, whichever one is best for you, once you know, I'm amenable for those dates myself as well. So I think we have some potential here. Sounds like.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I know that this is important that we got that scheduled. Don't want to take away from the resolution and that
Right.
we do plan to have, some tokens of our appreciation and probably, hopefully, Director Belfay can come a little bit early and we wish her well on that evening. That'll be, she's identified that as her last meeting.
So for the edification of the audience, we have a resolution document before the board tonight that we're being asked to adopt. But before we consider that action, I'd like to request that either our clerk or our district manager read the resolution out loud for the benefit of the audience so they know a little bit more about Mary. Read slow, you know.
Resolution number 25-09-1-552. A resolution of oh my gosh, of recognition for Mary Belfay in her service as a board member. Whereas Mary Belfay has continuously and successfully served as a member of the Paradise Recreation and Park District Board of Directors during the past 9 years. And whereas her tenure serving on the PRPD board included periods during and after the campfire at an extraordinary time of change for the district and community for which she provided dedicated public service and leadership. And whereas during her 47 years of Paradise Ridge area residency, raising a family and creating lifetime friends and memories while serving our communities and local organizations, Mary Belfay has always given much of her time and local knowledge to serve the public good. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the PRPD Board of Directors on behalf of the district and its communities, formal recognition and heartfelt appreciation of Mary Belfay. Approved and adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Paradise Recreation and Park District the 10th day of September by the following vote.
It dropped, yeah.
Okay, that concludes item 5.1. We'll move on to item 5.2, Yuba College Agreement.
Al,
Oh,
because Steve, you and I can do the 20th and the 21st. Can't we set the date?
Yeah,
Okay, but we're open for whenever you want, afternoon or whenever, for the 20th and 21st.
okay. Yeah, thank you, Robert. And just so everyone knows, what we're likely to do is in the notice that we publish, we'll typically put the date of the meeting so people can prepare for it, so that they know up front right out of the gate. So we'll confirm that with John hopefully tomorrow and get it out to you guys.
okay, thank you all. Let's move on to item 5.2, Yuba College Agreement. I believe we have a brief staff report and document in agreement format. Dan, you want to take the lead on this and just verbalize the presentation and enhance your staff
Yeah,
report?
I can give a bit of an update, and Scott can definitely give a familiarity with this program. So this is something we've been working on. We did a program, I think it was last year, Scott, we had an agreement by all accounts, it went well. They wanted to re-up, if you will, on it. I think there is also talk about perhaps doing a more long-term arrangement too, especially if we get a ropes course up on the ridge here. So I think Scott can provide some details on the program itself, but this is basically using our what we've called in the past our cooperators agreement. We're gonna call it a services agreement now, and you'll see that on the agreement itself. This is something that we've been working on with our attorney to have something that we can utilize, a standard agreement that we can utilize where we're providing services to a third party if there's not an agreement in place. So this is something that kind of mirrors a lot of our other projects on there. There is a little bit of scope of work in there that describes some of the efforts, not as colorful, I think, as what probably Scott could describe it as. And then kind of I would call it a unit cost budget. So if we do a field trip, there's a certain unit cost associated with it. So it's a simplified services agreement that, for each of these events, it's $5,000 for that event to provide that service. There is I believe I should check before I say it. As I recall, and Scott, maybe you can help me out here, but I think there is a possibility for after the conclusion of the agreement in September of 27, that there is a possibility for extension. I know that was something that we thought we could come back with costs, and as this refines as a program, we probably would come up with another agreement. But it does give us a kind of a 2-year cycle in which to carry out these services. Be happy to take any questions about the program or the agreement, but we're recommending that the board provide authorization for district manager to complete this agreement with Yuba College and provide those services over the 2-year period.
Given the information that you provided us this evening as part of our packet, I realize we've done this once before, and now they liked it so much they want to do it with us again, obviously, and I like the idea of a 2-year window, because you might be able to do this more than once. But maybe I'm old school, but refresh my memory. What I like about this is the school provides the transportation to the participants to get involved with our programming and excursions and so forth. My question is, under whose insurance is everybody protected during the excursions? Because I don't remember that when you first set it up the first time around. Maybe for the benefit of the board, we can share that information tonight.
Yeah, the nature of this agreement, the goal is to make this much more boilerplate, especially when we have a ropes course, that we are going to have some agreement in place. And yet there's a lot to it. When they step on our grounds, under my instruction, our insurance is at play. When we're on their grounds, the staff are insured under our program, and they are insured under their presence at school. So I don't see it any different than any other program that we already run. That's the nature of the fee for service program now becoming a contracted program, is that the COIs are locked into place, as opposed to a fee for service program. You don't talk about insurance unless something goes down. Yeah.
I was going to add one thing. I want to correct. I said that there was an extension. I don't think there's an extension, because we intend to come back in 27 with a revision on it. The other part, I mean, just to add to what Scott's saying, is that because we're the service provider, we have to have workers' comp insurance for our employees. So if they're on school grounds, if they're, if there's an injury of some kind, it protects the school from that standpoint. And then I think there's kind of that division of liability, if the school's insurance is in place when, as Scott pointed out, when they're on school grounds. So that kind of has some sideboards to it when we're going, depending on where we're at.
Right, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of the program is all the program activities are gonna be primarily on PRPD facility locations, right?
We'll switch the way this program is going to go, and which is very exciting, is that we will go see them once a year and they'll come see us once a year. So the goal is that on the first visit, I go with our treasure chest and a group of hardy team building assistants, and we do a program down there that sets the hook. Wow, this is a really neat program. If you think it's neat now, wait until you see Paradise Lake. And then eventually Paradise Lake will fade. Initially, we're going to go Billy Park. And then after Billy Park, it'll be Paradise Lake. And then in a couple of years, we'll have a ropes course. And that's where we'll be bringing everybody.
And which campus do you go to, Yuba Community College? They have more than one. You're
Yeah,
right.
they do. We go to the one that's near the Air Force Base. Yeah, we go to their main campus. We go to main campus, and then what we do there is pretty packaged. Like, they like the program that we already do with them. Most of these contracts with the outdoor edge groups, all of this is to continue greasing the wheels towards the Apex experience, which will be the ropes course. So all of these are simply solidifying our presence as program providers for something that there's a lot of competition for this type of team building and stuff. As soon as we have the ropes course, no one does what we do in the area, which is pretty cool.
And that's part of it too. I think by the time we get to 2027, we should have that in place and can have that opportunity.
I got a question, and I'm pretty sure you can answer this. There are much larger and closer recreation and park districts to Yuba College than us.
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting a reputation of doing something well and people coming to us?
So I have a no. We don't want our reputation out, right? We want to be known for doing well up on the ridge. What we want to do is we want people, how do we say this? We want people to come up here for it. And right now, this time frame allows us to keep clients happy that normally would come and see us. So yes, I do want us to have a good reputation of doing great outdoor education and great business, but I want that education to be centered on the ridge as opposed to our excursion program, which we're still building. Thanks for the compliment, Steve. I heard it.
How about the district rather than the ridge?
That's very well said. I heard it.
Any other questions from the board for Scott or Sam?
Yeah, last time around, how large was the PRPD team?
Great question. We can provide $5,000 worth of programming with 4 people for one day.
That's what I wanted to know, to make sure that we're not paying 50 people with this $5,000, but it seems as though we're not taking a loss on this. And the other question I would ask is, should the due date for task 4 be within 30 days of task 4 completion rather than task 3 completion?
Yeah, we can make that change.
Questions? Okay, thank you, Scott.
It's a pleasure.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this agenda item before the board deliberates an action item? Apparently not. Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? Sounds like staff's agreeable to a necessary amendment as pointed out by Director Stonebreaker. So maybe we should entertain an action to adopt with that amendment in mind.
I would move to let the district manager, I get the exact words. Authorize the district manager to complete the agreement with the amendment specified.
Very good. We have a good motion as stated. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Okay. Do you have that, Madam Clerk? Motion as stated.
Just correct the due date for task 4.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, we need a roll call vote, please.
Director Robert Anderson,
Aye.
Just a quick point of order. Amendment suggests additional items. I would suggest friendly suggestion to make it with corrections or with correction, as corrected. Yeah.
yeah, well,
I-
he said specified
The
amendment.
specified amendments, I think, it adds another dimension to it. So yeah.
No, he said with specified amendments.
Can we get a restatement of the motion?
Okay, I will try again to authorize the district manager to complete the agreement with the specified corrections.
Have a
Second.
motion?
And a second.
Okay. Now we have that clear. And we
Director
have a roll call
Anderson,
vote.
Aye.
Director Steve Rodwick,
Aye.
Secretary John Stonebreaker, Chairperson Alma Green.
Aye.
Motion carries with 4 ayes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Moving on, district report, agenda item 6.1. Staff, you want to kick that off, please?
Yeah, you know what I think I'm going to do is we do have, we teased it earlier that our pool manager was going to, supervisor was going to talk to us about some things, but I thought it'd be great to kind of kick off with Jeff and JC, who I think most board members have met, to kind of run through the recreational programs, and then I'll pick up any things that are coming up after that.
My mic hasn't been on. The instructor, Heidi, is excited to get over to the new kitchen at the Paradise Community Center when that becomes available to hopefully expand these classes and keep them going. Adult softball, as I usually report on each month, is winding down. It's coming to the end of the summer season, and it looks like the playoffs will go into early October. And there's a senior tournament planned for October 4th and 18th.
Can you give us an update on those tournaments at this point in time?
I don't have too much of an update, Al. I don't know if you got Willie's email back today.
I haven't seen it.
He's kind of keeping track of the teams and I asked him to email you, and he said he did. So you should have that
Okay,
in your Outlook.
thank you.
I don't have a number, but I know it is coming together. And last but not least, with the programming is the aquatics program. And the Paradise and Concal swim pools ended their full summer schedules back on August 10th. Since then, the Paradise pool has been able to stay open with a modified schedule, and we've been open 5 days a week still with the Paradise pool. We are coming up to our last weekend this weekend, which is the 14th. Yeah, our last day will be the 14th. Let's see. I'm going to move on to introducing JC here in a minute. Anyway, we are going to keep the aqua aerobics program going. well into October, assuming we have staff that can lifeguard during that program and our instructors available. It still is a very popular program. The pool's heated and up and running for the Paradise High School swim team that will be practicing 5 days a week into late October. So I did want to introduce our Paradise Pool manager, JC Martinez, and I'll say a couple things about him and then have him come up. You can come up now if you want. And then he might be happy to answer a couple questions, hopefully. First of all, I can't thank JC enough for all the hard work he's done this season. It's been a pleasure working with him in the aquatics program. It's his second year as the Paradise Pool manager. Having him, that consistency as his second year allowed us to expand the program. I mentioned the last couple of meetings, I've mentioned how we expanded to 7 days a week this summer. And that's the first time we've done that since the campfire. And it's pretty easy to just say we're going to go 7 days a week and put it in the guide and do it on paper, but to actually pull it off, it's a pretty big deal because it's a whole nother day. We've got, 14, 15 lifeguards total, including JC and the other senior guards that have to be there all of those 7 days. And we have to have 4 or 5 staff there usually to man the pool. And especially by the end of the season, you start getting your kind of workhorses out of those 15 people. You've got 5 or 6 people that really want to work, so you're really leaning on them a lot. So it ends up being a lot of hours for people. And JC put in a lot of time and effort. It allowed us to expand our swim lessons as well. And I think you're going to see when the pool report comes out later this fall that we brought in a lot more income with swim lessons and having the Sundays open. That being said, it costs more money to staff that, so that'll be reflected too. We wouldn't have been I wouldn't have felt comfortable running 7 days a week 2 years ago, or even last year, I think, while we were building up the staff consistency. With that being said, those staff go through lots of training, and a lot of that is because of JC here. If you have your board packet, and I noticed tonight, if you look back on page 8 under our safety committee meeting, back in the committee report, you'll see the first 2 safety meetings that were held were led by JC. And that's a common thing that's in the safety committee meeting reports every month, that he's leading trainings down at the pool. Anyway, there's lots of trading, there's lots of meetings, there's lots of building relationships with young staff. It turns out even on their time off from the pool, they'd be going on hikes together. I found out they'd be even going swimming together. So they'd go down to the creek and swim and things together. So that builds a lot of staff relationship and culture. He's taking the job very seriously. He works hard and he knows how to deal with the public appropriately. And we're dealing with a lot of people. I guess that pretty positive that it's our most participated program that we have here at the district, and that it really is doing the essential work of what PRPD does, in our mission, is like serving these people. And JC is a reflection of being that person, the boots on the ground, the face-to-face person with the public. He's dealing with a lot of public. There's a lot of challenges. I think we only had to call the police maybe once this year down at the pool. So there's a lot of little stuff that happens down there. And anyway, JC handled it in a professional manner. And I'm sure he'll allow you guys to ask him a couple questions if needed. We had a pool party 2 weekends ago, and all the lifeguards, we got them little keychains, little plastic keychains, and I wanted to get JC something a little fancier, so we got him this little plaque that says recognition of excellence, Giancarlo Martinez, pool manager 25. So yeah. We hope he's going to be back for several more seasons just to keep the consistency going at the pool.
Awesome.
I didn't prepare him for anything, but he'd probably answer a couple of questions if needed.
Yeah, I'm willing to answer some questions. I will touch base on the questions you had about the camps and stuff earlier as well. Our PRPD camps aren't the only ones. We also have a couple of Boys and Girls Club camps that come by as well. Obviously, they aren't as big of groups, which is awesome, and they definitely don't show up with as happy of little faces, but it is always awesome to see these big groups and field trips showing up to come and have fun and end the day with something exciting to do. So I'm glad that we're always there to make sure that our staff is there to keep them safe and let them utilize that fun pool that we have there for them. So
How was your season this year with the Piranhas?
it was we have a new coach, Erica, that's been helping out a lot. Coach Hope has been around a little less than what she was last year, so that has been a little adjustment for a lot of the kids. Most of them are used to that Coach Hope because she's been there for a while, but they've been doing great. It's awesome to see them growing so quickly. They really stretch out really fast, but they're a lot of the ones in the piranhas will show up to some of our swim lessons, as funny as it is. So like our lessons aren't as advanced as the piranhas are, but it still teaches them different ways that they can like get used to the water. It helps them with basic streamlines, some stuff that they do need refreshers on. So it is nice to see that our staff builds that relationship with them, and they like to keep coming as much to where they stay coming to lessons even though they probably don't really still need them.
So, JC, can you tell us who teaches the aqua aerobics?
Chris teaches the aqua aerobics. There are some days where Josh Peters and I will step in and we'll do some instructing.
So you've done it too. Okay.
Yeah, we have instructed definitely. It's fun at times.
And what's the typical age of the participants for aqua aerobics on average?
This year our classes have grown a lot more, so that rage group has widened. Last summer it was mainly about 45 and older. As to where this summer I've seen a lot of my coworkers, some even younger staff. We've even had an 11-year-old in there who's showed up with her own weights and she's doing the class and she's not being a disruption. So if they're enjoying it, we're gonna let them enjoy it. So
That's wonderful.
yeah.
We need some videos of some of that activity.
Yeah, we'll need to get approval first, but
Well,
definitely.
of course, yeah. They have to consent, otherwise we can't do it. But
Right.
Or go to the class. They're quite lively classes that group likes having new people in there.
I have a question. It's been a busy summer. A lot of people there. How many, if any, I guess, occurrences where it took some sort of rescue intervention at some level of, you know, was it a dozen? Was it zero? Was it 100?
So for the most part, the most of a rescue that we will have to do, or that we've had to do for the most part this summer at least, is technically an assist. So our staff doesn't have to fully get into the water yet, but you will get your float and you'll kind of do the reaching in assist to help them out. The most common one that we deal with is because we have the area of the pool that the longest part, it goes from the 3 feet up to 5. So it's not super deep, but most of the kids will be to where they can stand. And as they play with their friends, they don't realize their friends are a little taller than they are. And then they end up where they can't reach. And that's where most of us will end up having to just help readjust them and get them to where they can reach and remind them to stay where they can feel the ground or stay close to a wall, or we pull them towards the wall. That being said, last summer there was one situation where I personally had to jump in, and it was more because they were practicing the swim test, and where they practice it, it's a little deeper at to make sure they're comfortable in that area. Once they got middle to like the middle part, they do the little struggle or they might get tired, and that's where we'll get in and we'll assist them there. But we haven't had like an actual injury or submerged victim, if that makes sense. So it is basically just kind of helping them get to where they can reach, reminding them to stay close to the wall. Yeah. With that, all of our safety meetings and all of the trainings that Jeff was speaking of, we do still make sure that they're capable of it. So like we do have them swim a 500 meters because that is mandatory, Red Cross. We have them do what we call the Captain Jack 100s, which is where it's kind of like a circuit where they're doing an exercise routine where they swim, they do a dolphin dive back, they have to dive down 3 times to the bottom of the pool, then they jump in with one of the tubes to perform an entrance where they don't like, and you have to be able to jump in and keep your head above water So if you jump in and you go under, you get out, you have to restart it and you swim across. After you swim across, you dive down and pick up the 10-pound weight and you bring it up to the top, and then you go and you start the circuit again. So they do have to keep up with a lot of physical training. On top of that, we also have them keep up with performing certain rescues and changing up situations so that way we can test them and make sure that they will react and they can analyze quick enough. So we do timed trainings, we do a bunch of different safety protocols.
You know, I think another thing that people don't realize is just the rotation of guards and making sure that they're fresh and, you know, on it, because so much of what they're doing is that preventative part of it, and sort of not getting to a problem. We've been very fortunate having JC on there and just that continuity of leadership. Brian Wilson was here earlier, and he was had managed our pool, did a great job in keeping that team together. And so it's JC's doing a nice job, and we're glad you're on the team.
Happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I just a couple things I was going to mention. One is I think folks have been asking about our defensible space. We're on that right now. We're getting things all look pretty good. There are a few places that we want to do some additional work on for next season and just getting ready for it. I don't think it's in this packet. Do we have pictures of the volleyball court, by the way, on there?
They're in the packet.
They're in the packet. Okay. Yeah. So that's been a nice project that our crew's gotten around to. It's been a little bit in the works here, but it looks great. Just a couple of updates. Jeff covered a lot of things, but you see there's a lot of recreation items this time. We'll kind of shift here from that active. Jeff said boots on the ground. Really, it's probably flip-flops on the ground for the pool, but sort of shifting from those programs to kind of reflection on how the year went and what do we want to improve on, what do we want to do for next year. So I think our team did a nice job on that rec report last year, and so we will have some interesting things for this cycle around. Attached, we have what are called NARPA, and by the way, on it's page 3 of 4, but it's 22. It said National Park and Recreation Association is missing from that line there. But we have these facility reports, which I think are pretty interesting and show some patterns on changes to the district, on demographics and age limits, and some projections over time. So a lot of what we do on some of the work and what we're projecting, you know, takes that data and information into account. So we thought we'd share it with board members just for references. So you may want to keep those handy. Aquatic Center, we are working through working with the town on getting those plans signed off on and move forward. And so hopefully that will be underway. It's going to delay our start time, so that start time on the Aquatic Center on the ground will be probably delayed from kind of a summer, fall to probably a fall, winter start. So we're looking forward to that getting underway once we get approval from the town. Lake Ridge, our team has been working on a bit of incorporating the CHIP housing property in with a configuration of the parks. The design's been kind of split into two pieces right now, even though it's one project essentially. So having essentially the whole park design and then the building set out on that facility. So we're working on that. Those are likely to be separated out when we put them out to bid. Shop, I'll have more to say here in the future. Hold on a second. I'm having some feedback here on my side. Just today, our team from North Star had gone through and provided some options on configurations and some of the amenities that we need. So we're going to work through that with them and probably bring it up as a project update with our Rec and Park Committee. So that will be exciting to share. One other thing I wanted to add that's coming up is we're going to kick off or delay our Nexus study update to kind of fall and winter. So that will be coming up, I think, with board consideration around the first of the year. So first of 2026 is when we'll have that kicked off with our board, go through that process. There's a lot of information in here, but I don't want to belabor anything. If folks have questions, be happy to answer any of them.
Any questions from the board?
What precipitated the delay with the Nexus study?
You know, I think it's just a couple of things. One is looking at the information. We were trying to see what would happen with the Feather River impact fees that they went through. And I think that's should have asked earlier, but I think that was part of it. I think some of it is their workload. And then just there's a lot of dynamic changes with the district. So just making sure that they have at least a good snapshot that's somewhat stable for the district. So I think that there's a variety of reasons for that to be a little bit delayed from what it was.
Wasn't also, given the fact that we're soon going to receive the Paradise Community Center, that has to be accounted for somehow in the Nexus study. So there's some more work to do on the study to account for.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the dynamic picture, right? So I think originally we thought that was right around the corner. It's been delayed, that consideration. So, you know, having that kind of on the list, and we want to have not a impact study, Nexus study that's based on speculation. So it needs to be things that we actually have in hand. So we thought it wise to wait rather than to either leave it off and it comes on in a month or two, or to have it assume that it's on and that doesn't happen. So you know, it just made sense to kind of hit pause until we get those things rectified. Yeah, thank you.
Any other board questions? It's not in our district report, but I'm just a curiosity. Where are we at with the buffer project?
I'm sorry.
Where are we at with the buffer project?
Oh,
with the team?
yeah. So a couple of things. One is we're doing a lot of work on it right now. There is, I think I mentioned the board, there was a part of the project is a project development component. So that is, we're trying to meet some deadlines for that for HMGP, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. That's next Monday is the deadline. So one of the things that will be coming to, I think, share with the board and the public at the end of the year will be some findings, what we're calling a kind of a summary report. So all the different layers, trying to piece those together and share that with the public. I think folks have seen that have been paying attention to it, the fire pathways modeling, which is interesting, but that's kind of as a standalone. When we bring that to our local partners, there's kind of a lot of local expertise that needs to be taken into account, that and firefighting strategies on that. So I anticipate that before the end of the year, we're going to be having some public outreach meetings to share that information, and that lines up well with this first part, the BRIC funding, which ends in, I believe it is March of next year. So they're rapidly going to be finishing up a lot of steps on that. So more to come on it, but
right.
Once we get those products, we'll be issuing some release of that information and then public information meetings to share.
Appreciate you telling
sure.
us that. Nothing further, board members? Okay, so we'll move on to board comments. I'll start with you, Robert. Any comments you want to share tonight? How about you, John?
I would say that I had the opportunity to go to the wellness fair at Billy Park, and it was good to be out at one of our facilities and see the crowd and the children enjoying themselves on the giant inflated slide and all of that. It sort of reminds me, as I said to Willie there, that it's why we do this. It was good to see staff there and representative from the Elements program and all of that as well. And as usual, I've been to too many government meetings. So among those have been a PID meeting and 2 supervisors meetings and our Upper Ridge Community Council meeting, all where the Magalia Dam redesign was one of the topics. And it seems as though we've finally gotten the county to play ball with the irrigation district. We're not sure that they're going to be able to meet the timeline that the irrigation district board had presented at their last meeting, but it does seem as though Public Works has made a budget request. So if that happens to be on the supervisor's agenda, then anybody who's been interested in better connectivity in the areas of our district might want to have a word to the supervisors to help fund this project.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Steve?
Yeah, I also attended the wellness fair. I was representing the Paradise Garden Club, but our staff, PRPD, was well represented there. They were all over the place, and it was a good way to incorporate the neighbor to neighbor with the wellness fair. With regard to the animal shelter, it is essentially done. If you want to go in and see the new section, it's open. The cats are there. If you want to adopt a nice kitten, they're available. I think the chamber calendar is pretty booked for the next month, so we don't know when the official ribbon cutting will be, but it'll be hopefully in the not too distant future. That's it.
Steve, I'm sure that Pash will send out something, but could you copy our staff on any of those announcements? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for sharing that information. Since our last board meeting, it's been relatively quiet for me, which is a shock in some respects. But I did attend by Zoom a CARPD board meeting, which is California Association of Recreation and Park Districts, and it was a good agenda. We had a lot of things to discuss. It's the beginning of a new fiscal year, so we're already got the staff and one of our standing committees planning the next conference, which will be scheduled in the latter part of May, and it's going to be in Monterey this next calendar year. So that's kind of exciting. At the same time, in the month of November, I learned from this CARD board meeting that Capri has been in existence 40 years now. And so there's going to be a big celebration about that. And Capri is inviting CARPD board to attend the festivities for that celebration sometime in November. So once I know more of the details, I'll try to share that with the staff and the board here, because they might extend that invitation to just member districts too. I don't know. That remains to be seen. Our Rec and Park Committee met on August 21st. You already know about that. And I was really pleasantly surprised that for some reason there was no Butte LAFCO Commission meeting this month. So not sure why, but anyway, that's pretty much it for me. Just as an aside, the wellness fair, was this the 5th year of that wellness fair? Does anybody know? Seems to me it's been
I want to say it's third or fourth, but
maybe the
Fourth.
4th, huh?
yeah, fourth.
Yeah.
I'm seeing from the crowdsourcing it looks like fourth.
Okay.
It's 5th in the announcement. You're correct.
Okay. If there's no other comments, we're going to declare this meeting adjourned. So thank you all tonight, and we're adjourned.